All right, we are live. Got to click a little button over here too. Go live on Instagram as well. Let's see. Good deal. Go live. Anyways, I don't think Instagram's working, but it's okay. We are live right now. This is Mike with Votel, and today I got Renee with me from Sensum, and it's a managing consulting company with a focus on strategic planning and strategy. Let you go ahead and take a moment to talk a little bit about yourself, Renee.
Well, thank you, Mike. So again, this is Renee. I work as a management consultant. I help small businesses with their strategic planning or company strategy. I've been doing this since 2016, different places all over the world. Clients are in different places in the world as well. I love helping my clients, especially with strategy. Basically, what that means is understanding what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how you can improve your services, your processes, anything to make the client happy, right? And then obviously to help you make some of the money there. And I've been following Mike for quite some time, a few years now, with all the different products that he's come up with. And most recently, they told me about Votel, and I love it. Seriously, it's an upgrade to everything else that he has already made. Uh, I love it because it's more robust. I was telling him that basically what I want to use Votel for is to be able to replace my job. I know that sounds stupid, right? But not, because I see the future as AI doing a lot more for us and facilitating um, our daily lives, like with anything that we do. And in this case, is being able to take what I do as a consultant with my spreadsheets and my softwares, that are the different softwares that I have, to be able to put it into the mind of an AI and follow the processes exactly how we do it with a client, and to be able to have that natural way of communicating, which AI has improved so much. And Mike has been able to put together different, I'm going to say tools, but of course I might be wrong, right? But basically you have put it all together in such a way that it works harmoniously, like with how the audio sounds, how the AI communicates, how it gathers the data, how it stores the data that you want, and how to use it, how it retrieves it. And even though their site gives you a few examples of what they can do, basically, if you look outside of that box, I think that it's limitless what you can do with what they have, and it's not that complicated to use
Yeah.
uh, compared to other softwares or apps that are out there. And I've been testing quite a few. I was telling Mike about it a few minutes ago. Excuse me. So
Well,
yeah,
thank you for that.
that's really about me.
I appreciate the kind words. And, we were talking about, you asked me like, well, could you create an AI agent that could be like a Spanish teacher and it can teach you phrases in Spanish and go back and forth with English? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, I think we can do that. So we're like, let's just do a live stream and let's create one together and just see how it works.
Right.
Now, for everyone that's just joining here, I am inside the agent builder. And so I just clicked on create a new agent. And we're going to come in here. And we're going to say start from scratch. And so to build this Spanish speaker agent, so I'm going to give it the teacher name. I'm going to call it teacher agent. I just got to give it some instructions, right? And so I'm actually going to delete a bunch of this. I don't need that. We got the style it's going to talk in. I think that's fine. But let's go ahead and give it some instructions. So I'm going to say something like, you're a Spanish teacher and your whole goal is to teach people phrases in Spanish. So first you're going to say the phrase in English, and then you're going to say it in Spanish. And then you're going to ask the person to repeat it, and you're going to judge them based on how they did. But since this is like a phone conversation, you're going to ignore any sort of capitalization or punctuation. Right, so I just did some speech to text here. I just put in that little note, and I think that's going to be all we need to make this Spanish teacher. Now, it does say I did select English. That's selected by default, but I want everyone to know that English is actually Spanglish. So it does English and Spanish out of the box, and it can switch between those. And I know we got tons of different voices, but I think you said you wanted a particular like accents
Right. So
or
try
yep,
something like from South America, like Peru or Argentina.
Peru. Okay, okay. So I'm gonna filter by language. I got tons of different languages in here. So I'll do Spanish, apply filters. And we do have, like I said, thousands of voices in here. Some of these are like community generated, people recording their own voice, like with 11 Labs. They got an open directory here. So we got a lot we can go through, and we're just going to kind of pick one we think sounds good. We got the preview button here. Maybe we'll try Juan. That sounds like a Peruvian name.
Right.
Let's see what he sounds like.
Hello, I'm your AI assistant. How can I help you today?
What do you think? That one?
Let's try that one and
Okay,
see how it
we'll
teaches
try
you
it. We can always change it later.
Right.
So I got Juan selected, and we're gonna give it a test. See how it goes. Hello, how you doing?
Hey there, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Let's get started with some Spanish phrases, shall we? Here's the first one. In English, hello, how are you? In Spanish, hola, ¿cómo estás? Now, can you please repeat after me? Say, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Awesome! That was really good. You nailed the pronunciation. Okay, let's try another one. In English, I'm doing well, thank you. In Spanish, estoy bien, gracias. Your turn. Please repeat, estoy bien, gracias.
Estoy bien, gracias.
Perfect. You said it just right. Very clear and natural. You're doing great. Here's another one for you. In English, what is your name? In Spanish, ¿cómo te llamas? Give it a try and say, ¿cómo te llamas?
What do you think so far? I think that's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like how the accent is true. I'm from Peru, so I know. Okay, that is true. And then the way that it's teaching
Are you
you
still there?
is more natural. Well, what? It's more natural. Like this is something that I was telling you before, right? Like most of the apps, and this I do because of my kids.
Mhm.
I want them to learn Spanish, but I want them to learn the natural way of how I would teach them if I was there the whole time. And
Mhm.
so with this, I can see how, as long as you train it right in there, you will be able to build on vocabulary, uh, phrases, on greetings, all of that, but naturally, so they don't get bored or tapping on the app in the tablet and then not really learning anything at the
Mhm.
end of the day. So that was great. I
And
love
you're
it.
talking about my Spanish was great, right? Or you're talking about the AIs?
Well, yours is really good. I mean, you do really good with the pronunciation. Even the AI told you, right? Uh,
I
but
think that's so
the
cool.
AIs was really good. Like the voices that you have picked in there, or the services for the voices, they're really, really neat because they sound
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah. Yeah. And this wasn't like an anticipated use case. Like I didn't think like, oh, we'd be building Spanish teacher AI agents, right? That was pretty interesting right here. So I love to see that, we can just throw this at it and it does it.
Right. Exactly.
There was one other piece to this that you were talking about, and I want to show people how to do.
Okay.
And you said like you're gonna charge people to basically have access to this agent, and you wanted a
Right.
way to kind of like gate it and protect it so only people that have paid, right, can access this. So why don't you
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about that, and then I'll real quick, and then I'll kind of build that.
Okay. Well, so I mean, the idea is, like I said, there's other apps out there in the market, and they are all selling this type of services, right, for languages, and
Hmm.
specifically for Spanish. I see a bunch of them out there, and they all charge, right? Like that's natural, right? That they're going to charge for it. So then
Hmm.
I asked you, I said, well, this is a good idea, and the platform provides again for the whole robust system that can work for other things that I've been working on. So why not try for this? And then I
Hmm.
said, well, but I want to monetize on it, right? Because nothing is free in this life.
Hmm.
So how do we do that? How do we make it so that people can still use this, but ahead of time they pay, and I make sure that they are paying for it, um, because I mean, I'm still new to the platform, so I don't know how would they pay if they have to talk over the phone, or even if it's
Yeah.
a widget on the chat in the website.
Well, let's do that. In order to make this happen, right, we're going to be charging for the Spanish teacher agent. We do want to connect a payment integration like Stripe to be able to collect credit cards. We do want to create a form to actually capture that order and save it inside Votel. And then we're going to use that data inside the teacher agent to gate it and say, let's only allow people who've paid, right, or people who have a certain tag to be able to access this agent. So first thing is, normally you'd go under settings and then integrations, and then under payments, you can add your payment integration and you can add Stripe. I'm not going to do that part here, but very simple. Stripe's going to give you two values. You got to paste in here. You got a secret key and a publishable key. Once you connect Stripe, you'll be able to use that in the payment section here. So under payments, we're going to add a new product, right? And the first product I'm going to add in here is going to be let's say Spanish teacher access. Now we can make this a subscription, right? It could be one time. I'm just going to leave it as the default settings. Now, when I save this, since I don't have my Stripe connected, it's going to save it as a draft product. And so once I connect my Stripe, I can publish it. It's going to sync it with your Stripe account, and then it'll switch to published. So we got that product in here. Next, we can go ahead and create a payment form. Now, I can describe this to the AI, but I want to do it manually so you guys can kind of see how it's done. We do have some template forms over here on the right. But first, I would add, I can show you like a contact us form, for example. But then I can go ahead and add on the payment element. Now, since I don't have my Stripe configured, it's not going to let me select the product here. But you would select the product we just created, and then you're going to see the basically the checkout element on this form. I'll go ahead and delete some of the other fields here. So we got name, email, phone, and then payment. That's cool. Now, we did just release, actually, since I'm here, might as well tell you, we did just release tons of different themes in here in the form builder. So you got tons of pre-built ones, all different styles. And of course, you can customize that too. So you can get it to look exactly how you want and override the colors and the button style and all that. So I'm going to save this. And let's call this the payment form. And so now I got a payment form, right? I can publish this. I can then embed this on any website. It doesn't have to be with Votel. If you did design your website with Votel, right, we got the AI website builder. You just paste the embed code to the agent and say, hey, put this on my site, right? And it'll do it for you. So that's really cool. But if you're using WordPress or some other system, you can put it on there as well. But now that I got my payment form, what we can do is go back into my agent, my teacher agent, and we can go ahead and set up a trigger. So we're going to say, hey, when the form is submitted, right? Well, that means someone paid. So we can just do something as simple as add a tag, right? And I'm going to tag a lead as having access to teacher, Spanish teacher access. Teacher access. All right, so now you got Spanish teacher access. And I'm going to rename this and say payments form submitted. So nice and organized. Perfect. So very simple, very simple. Now, inside the same agent, we can actually create a second workflow. And this is what I'm going to do for incoming call. And on the incoming call, it's going to be a trigger of conversation started, and that covers any inbound communication. That could be a phone call, SMS, email, etc. But this automation is going to trigger when that call comes in. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to prevent people from accessing Mr. Teacher Agent unless they paid. So we can do something like a decision node or a condition. This basically creates a branch for us live during the call. I'm going to add two paths. It's going to be yes or no, true or false, right? And so what we're going to be checking here is, do they have the tag Spanish teacher access? This is the false branch, so we're going to say does not contain Spanish teacher access. But on the true or yes side, we're going to say if the tag does contain Spanish teacher access. So now Well, I like to rename the steps too. So we say has Spanish teacher access. So now we got a true and a false branch. If they don't, let's go ahead and say something to them like, sorry, access denied. We could put something a little bit more nice in here, like we want to sell them and we'll send them, the payment link and get them on board. But just to kind of show you how this works, we're going to say, sorry, it looks like you haven't paid yet. Access denied. Right? Do something nice and simple.
Right.
Great. So if they haven't paid, it'll say that. If they have paid, we're going to say something else. We're going to go ahead and say, thank you for calling. My name is Juan. Let's get started on your Spanish lesson today. Are you ready? Right. And I'll go ahead and save that. So we got this little auto organize button I like, kind of like organizes everything. So I'm going to click that and then I'm going to click save. And let's see what happens. I'm going to do start voice conversation.
Thank you for calling. My name is Juan. Let's get started on your Spanish lesson today. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Let's start with something simple. I'll say the phrase in English, then in Spanish, and then you can repeat it after me, okay? Here we go. Good morning. In Spanish, that's buenos días. Now you try saying buenos días.
Buenos días.
Hey, that was really good. You got the pronunciation just right. Nice job. Ready for the next?
All right, I'm going to hang up there. And so let's see, we got this Spanish teacher access if the tag contains Spanish teacher access. So we got the true branch and we got the false branch on here. And so the way we can go in and test these, and these are upside down over here, so let me fix that. The way we can go ahead and test this is we need to work with a contact that has these tags. So if I go in and we update a contact in here, and I got a contact right here. We got these tags, so we can go ahead and assign these tags to have Spanish teacher access or not. And when I do that, let me create one maybe without it. So I'm going to say Joe Smith. We're going to say joe@yahoo.com. All right, so we got two contacts in here. This person's not going to have this tag. He may have another tag like VIP, something like that. Completely different tags in here. And so now we can go back into the agent since I have some real contacts to work with in here, and we can test this out. So I'm going to just look at this again. So if the tag contains Spanish teacher access, it'll go to true. And if it doesn't contain Spanish teacher access, it will go to false. And so now if I test this and I want to use a contact and I'm going to say, let's test with Joe, let's see what happens.
Sorry, it looks like you haven't paid yet. Access denied.
Right. And so that's why we have this feature here, right? Contact is optional. But this simulates like an actual person calling. Like when they call, we have their caller ID, we look up their contact, we know it's Joe calling, right? So we have access to everything on Joe's profile. We know his tags, and that's how we can route him to that access denied route. But if I switch to someone else like Mike in here, who does have that tag, he's going to go down the other branch. So let's give that a shot.
Thank you for calling. My name is Juan. Let's get started on your Spanish.
All right, perfect. So you see, it did exactly what we wanted. We got real-time routing on the Spanish teacher. So tell us about this. I know you're pretty excited about this option here. Tell me about how you're going to plan on, kind of distributing this. Like, what's next from here once you get this built?
Well, so again, this was just an idea, right? I'm going to share this with my sister because I was telling you about it, right? Like I'm going to share with her, and then I think she's going to be very excited about the possibilities. And then from there, we're just going to build a site with one of the other products that I've purchased from you before. Or maybe we're just going to have Votel deliver the website like you showed me the other day in under 5 minutes, I think that might be a better option. My sister will be blown away by that.
Yeah.
And then from there, train it on the natural way of how we grew up learning Spanish in Peru, right? Uh, and then from there, we'll see. I mean, I have to help her develop, a plan on how to take this out into the marketplace.
Yeah.
But first, before when you have an idea, you want something that can help you put the idea into something that is tangible per se in this case, right? Uh, and that it works.
Yeah.
And like I was telling you earlier in our conversation, uh, she asked me about platforms where she could build something uh, to develop this, to be able to launch it. And I've been searching for a few months, and I found several different options, but none of them are simple enough. And my sister, her background is not in anything technical, right? So I hope that answers the question a little bit. I mean, I don't want to give too much out, right?
Yeah.
Because it's still an idea, but I think it's an idea that is going to have success because of how simple it works on Votel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, this is a great, like, quick kind of proof of concept here to kind of show you, how that works. And you can go in and put your secret sauce and, the style of teaching and the system prompt for the Spanish lessons. But I think that was really cool. I do like how it can just swap back and forth between languages naturally like that on a call. I have worked with customers to where they want to do lots of different languages, and I'll show you one extra trick here while I got you.
please.
And so, like I was saying, if you do English and Spanish, English supports both English and Spanish. But if you have someone that's like, oh, I want to, Chinese agent, right? Actual use case. Well, you can actually ask on the incoming call, what languages do you speak? And you can route them accordingly based on what they picked. So what we would do here after a conversation node, right? So the conversation node can look something like this. What language do you speak, right? And you can have English, and then you can have Chinese, whatever, some other language, etc. And after they answer that particular language, we can actually transfer or forward the call to another agent, right? Because this agent can only have that one language option selected at a time. So you got English and Spanish, or Chinese, or something else. And so we just forward the call to that Chinese agent, which is really good. And making the Chinese agent was actually incredibly simple. And let me tell you why. We didn't have to create the entire agent from scratch. We actually relied on the AI to do the translation for us. All the prompts, all the conversations, everything was written in English, right? So if you notice here, right now it's on this mode static response. So the AI is going to read this verbatim. So if I selected Chinese as my language and I'm writing English text, right, I'm going to get an English response. But if I just click this simple button, AI generated, and I put in my prompt, always speak Chinese, right, it's going to actually translate this on the fly to another language. So all we did was we copied the agents, we clicked on AI generated, and now we had a fully speaking Chinese agent, right? And so that was really, really cool. So use the conversation node, ask what language, just like an IVR. If you want to proceed in English, let me know, or we can speak something else. And you can route to the correct agent and have that automated, translated automatically. So I think we can do another video on that, maybe create another agents in a different language on the fly and forward the calls to it. But that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I did just post a something in the Facebook group. This was a new page that a customer just had made on a demo. This was for a barbershop, actually. Now, I was actually completely blown away by this. And let me see if I can show the refresh button over here. So it has like this cool like entrance animation here, and then like the zoom effect. And as I move my mouse, it like kind of highlights in the background. I thought was really cool. AI did this all in one shot, right? We just said build a barber website called Mike's Barbershop, in New York, and it just did it all in one shot. So the animations and the effects and everything, I was just like blown away. So blown away.
That's very impressive. I mean, I was gonna say, please post the prompt so that we can all do something like that.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
very impressive. Wow,
Thank
what
you.
it did right there.
I'll post the prompt for this in the comments in the Facebook group. So if you guys are watching this on other channels, please join our Facebook group. It's called Votel. That's Votel. So we'll see you on Facebook. I'll drop the prompt. And if you guys want to see other great ideas, want to see other videos, and you have great ideas, just go ahead and share that in the comments. We'll read that, respond to that, and we'll make sure we crank out some more great videos for you. I just want to say thank you so much, Renee, for jumping on here and sharing this use case with us. This was so unique and fun. So thank you again.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. You told me about this, and I had time, so why not? Especially since, again, this is not to oversell the product, but seriously, since I've been following you for several years and I bought several products from you, I've seen the improvement over the years, and how you're a visionary man. Okay, you catch on onto what's trending and what's useful. So I appreciate it. I appreciate that you and the team listen to our feedback, even though sometimes it might not seem like that, right? But that's normal in all companies. And then you come up with an improvement, which is right now Votel, which I'm very excited about, and I appreciate it because I told you guys about what I was trying to do before, and it was harder to do with the other products, but I was getting there. With this, I've made improvements since yesterday in what took me, I don't know, months in the other platforms. So thank you again. This is awesome. And anybody else that is watching this, by all means, please sign up because this is awesome. You're not going to regret it. It's awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words, and thank you again for your time. And we'll have to do more of these. This was fun.
For sure.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye, guys.